We are streaming, people. Stream, stream, stream. Stream, stream, stream. Streaming all day. Streaming all night. Haven't streamed in a while, to be honest. Let's just see if there's anyone watching. One live viewer. Me. We're going to get started here in 2 minutes. And we're going to use Halion, which is coolest instrument ever. People are probably like, yo, you didn't send any reminders for the webinar. Maybe I didn't want anybody to show up. Did you ever think about that? And because I get nervous streaming. It's not easy. Okay, we do have another viewer, so that's good. If you are in the or are watching, throw something in the chat, because I'd rather have a dialogue. I don't want to feel all alone. Let's put it that way. And then we're going to get started here in a minute. If you have any questions already and you want to ask them to me. All right, David Harding is in there. What's up, buddy? And Michael Young's in there. Yay. Thanks, guys. Thank you, David. Hello, Michael. I'm not alone. All right, let's see if anybody else shows up. Only about 10 people registered for this. I didn't expect much of a turnout because this is not a popular instrument. And, a lot of the people that sign up for my courses, they're really beginner level. Some of them don't even know what a virtual instrument is. So the reason I'm doing this webinar is because I like Halion so much that, I don't know, I want to talk about it. Okay, cool. All right, we're going to get started here. The chat is just acting a little funny, so give me 1 second. It's weird. I can't type anything in the chat. All right, let's try this again. Huh. I can't type in the chat. All right. Well, we're going to get started. I actually want to pull up the screen just in case I do miss something. Okay, good. All right, here we go. All right, let's start fresh. I'm going to start by saying this is a course we're going to be doing on Halion 7 from Steinberg. And this is a virtual instrument that, to me, is an underrated, just beast of piece of software that is like my desert island instrument, because it can play anything. Full orchestra, pianos, guitars, synthesizers, and everything in between. You can create your own sounds. You could use the existing sounds. It comes with like 30, 40, 50 gigabytes of its own sounds. You could create your own virtual instruments and sell them with this program. So actually, DAWJunkie is going to be coming out with some synthesizers that were made with Halion that you guys can use and run inside Studio One or whatever software you're using to make music. So let's get into it. I want to show you a little bit about it so you can use it like I am. And you could use it to varying degrees. You don't have to go crazy with it like me and create synthesizers. You can just use it to play piano if that's all you want. You can use it to play a cool guitar sound, a cool synthesizer, however you want to use it. So I'm going to take it from the bottom and work my way up, and then you could just jump off from whatever launching point you want and just take it from there. Let me just show you my screen. Here, double click on Halion on my desktop. Halion 7 just came out. It's the latest version, which prompted me to do this webinar, and I'm going to be doing YouTube series. I think a YouTube series on this. All right, so when you first load up or open up Halion, you get a screen like this. And like all my other videos, we're going to just take it really step by step. And I'm just going to explain what the heck's going on here. We're just going to pick the easy stuff first and work into the harder stuff. Just realize that this is an instrument. It's a virtual instrument, and it's used inside your music-making software to provide instruments like pianos, drums, guitar, all kinds of cool stuff, rhythms. And that's how you have to think of this, because there's so much to it. It could get confusing about its identity. Like, what is it really? And just think of it as an instrument. It makes noises. So just to start, if you've never used it before, well, first of all, let me just tell you this. This is not cheap software. I believe when there's not a sale, Halion's like $329 or $350 And you know, I got mine as part of, well, let me just show you. Let me start off with that. Let me just start off with this. If you go to Steinberg's website, and you look under instruments, go to Halion, you will see the buying price, $350. If you already have something previous, you know you get discounts, blah, blah, blah. And you don't, see, here's the thing. You don't have to buy this to follow along with me. You could download a trial version, which is 30 days, and it's full functionality to see if you like it. But I don't even recommend buying Halion straight up. If you go to Instruments on the Steinberg's website and go to Absolute, this is an instrument collection, and Halion is included in it. And I've had Absolute since, I think, version 1. It's awesome. It's so good. It comes with Halion. And then it comes with all these different synthesizers that come with Halion. Tons and tons and tons of sounds. And then it comes with a whole drum program called Groove Agent, which is not Halion. This is like a drum machine. And then you have other synthesizers inside Absolute. So it's a group of sounds, or it's a group of software, not just one. And Halion or Absolute is $500, but you know, you wait for a sale with Steinberg, like a 40-50% off sale, and just buy all of Absolute instead of buying Halion separately, because on sale, dude, it's like such a good deal, and you get a lot of add-on packages and different instruments. So that, I'm just telling you, that's how I originally found out about Halion. I got it as part of Absolute, and I recommend Absolute. It's one of the best, most also underrated instrument packs you could get. They sound so good. Everything in there sounds so good. Really good synthesizers and stuff. So those are your two options. You could buy it as part of Absolute. And if you're freaking about the price, like I said, Halion or Steinberg has sales and coupon codes and stuff. You might be able to get this for like $250. If you could get Absolute for $250, then it's a really, really good deal, just so you know. Anything under that is an amazing deal. All right, so that being said, everything has a trial, so you could still try this out for 30 days. All right, now back to Halion itself. Say you bought it or downloaded the trial. Once you install it, you're going to be presented with this screen. What I'd like to do is just go to play single instrument. Let's just simplify things here. And you'll get this screen here. I'm just going to go full screen with it just so it looks nicer. So this is the interface for Halion. Now, like I say also in all my other courses, it probably looks confusing. There's lots of buttons and dials and numbers and switches and levers and sliders and stuff. Ignore all of it. Ignore it all and just follow along with me. Think of this thing as literally an instrument that just plays sounds. And all these things over here are the sound modules that it comes with. Like if I clicked all, it will show every single instrument that's in the whole program. And if you look at this little number up here, this is another reason why I like Halion. There's 5,700 sounds that are in this list of all the sounds you could use. So let's just I'm just going to take one, like this 12-string electric Ricky, and just double-click it. That's the only thing you have to do, and it will load up in the program, and then you could play it. I'm just using my MIDI controller. All right, here's 1999 synth comp. Let's double click that. This one's 3-octave bass. It's not, my latency is not great. Let me just check something here. Aha! I'm going to switch this. There we go. Now, Halion's been around for a while, so this 5,700 sounds are old sounds and new sounds. So some things might sound a little dated, but I actually like the vintageness of some of the sounds. And if anybody has a Yamaha Motif synthesizer or workstation, whatever you want to call it, I think it shares a lot of sounds with this because Steinberg and Yamaha, same company, or one owns the other. I don't know how it all works, but it's the same. So, like here's a 4-ah choir. I think this is because it came from Halion 4. So it's probably older, a little older sounding. And if you have a motif, I think you'll recognize some of these sounds. Now, truth be told, I went and bought an analog synthesizer not that long ago, a couple weeks ago, my first analog synthesizer, and it was from Korg. And I bought it because I always wanted an analog synthesizer, and I wanted to compare it to software and see what the whole hubbub is about. Does an analog synthesizer really sound that much more organic and crisp and crunchy and warm? And what I found was the software has gotten so good, I actually like the way my software sounded better than this analog synth. So in my mind, the question and the debate is over. I do not need hardware anymore. And it's one of the reasons why I bought this latest version of Halion lately. I returned that synth, put the money into Halion. Now I have 5,000 presets and a instrument builder that's a beast, and it sounds amazing. So I think you get the most bang for your buck with software these days. If you have a thing for hardware, good. An analog synthesizer might be for you. But I want to just show you some other sounds that come with this. So if I click all back up here at the top, now we get these little packs. Okay, so what I was doing was picking randomly out of those 5,700 sounds. Now I'm going to get a little more specific, and I know because I know which sounds of these are more modern, created recently, and which ones were old. Like these in the HS Factory, I believe, are pretty old or older. But this Eagle is a hell of a piano, and it sounds great. So I'm just going to click this loud and clear, just double click it. And you can see it's loading because it's a beast of a piano. So it's got a bunch of samples in there that it's loading. And the newer stuff in Halion comes with a cool interface. See this interface here? A lot of the sounds I was picking before this were so old school that they didn't even use these interfaces. This one has a built-in interface. So and you can, in this interface, just change the dynamics, the warmness. All right, so that's Eagle. That's a piano. Let's open up this Anima. This is a specific type of synthesizer called a wavetable synthesizer. And let's just try some of these sounds in here. All right, let's try something else. Alternate motion. Arcade. Okay, that's Anima. That's a specific type of synthesizer. Auron is another one. Oops, I double clicked. So we'll try some of this stuff in Auron. Now these are sounds inside of Halion that come with their own interface. Really great sounds. Everything's crisp. It's just a great sounding synth. And if you want to get more traditional, we got studio strings here. Let's see what we got here under studio strings. Choppy cello. I'm going to turn off that arpeggio. Cello in concert. All right, you get the idea? This thing over here on the right-hand side is called your media bay. You can see it from the little tab up here. And that's where you can access all your sounds. So you got organs, you got EDM stuff, you have all kinds of really amazing sounding stuff over here. So think of Halion as an instrument. It's a player. Like I just showed you how to use Halion as an instrument player. We didn't edit anything. We didn't change anything. We just loaded up some preset sounds that it comes with, and I showed you how to play them easily. Halion's much more than that, but that's one thing you could do with it. If you just want to use it to play sounds and not create anything or edit anything, you just pick your sounds over here from the media bay. There's a drum machine it comes with. You just hit one key, playing drum beat. What else do we got? An organ. Michael's asking, how does Halion compare with Contact? Here's how it compares. Thing about Halion is a synthesizer and a sample player. And I don't think Contact is a synthesizer. All Contact can do is play back samples that somebody has recorded. So if you bought something from a company and you could load it into Contact, it's something that company recorded and Contact is just playing it. Like Contact is a player. Halion is a player, but it's also got its own built-in synthesizer engines, which I'm going to get to. So, all right, what I basically showed you is how to play all the cool sounds in here, okay? That's Halion 101. Okay, second thing I want to show you is how Halion is put together. Everything inside of Halion is in a window that can be resized, shifted around. Like, watch this. If I want to make the browser bigger, I just drag this to the left. If I want to make the browser a little shorter, I just drag this down, drag this up. It's very resizable. And you might be wondering now, well, what do you want to... you showed me these two windows. Is there more? Yes, that's the thing about Halion. I showed you this one, which on the left, this basically shows the user interface, if that instrument has one. And this screen over here shows you all the sounds you could pick. That's the media bay. But you'll notice there's other tabs next to these tabs. Like this one's called Browser. What if I click Browser? It's a browser to just like like your computer has, like Mac has Finder and Windows has Explorer. It's a browser to find stuff on your hard drive in this, straight folder format, That's another way to search for things on your computer. So that is the browser. Now, if you hit plus up here, you will see all the tabs that you can open. These are all the things that make up Halion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 3 is 21, 24, 25, 26, 20. So 28, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. There's 26 things here that aren't showing yet that I can pop up on the screen and resize in its own window. Like here's an example of one. I'll go back to the media bay here. What I'd like to do is hit the plus up here, because these are all the tabs that are available on this side of Halion. Click the plus up here, and there's our 20 whatevers things we could show. I want to go to this one called Quick Controls. Where is it? Quick Controls, which is neat. Every instrument inside of Halion has 6 or 8 knobs that are assigned to it that can edit some of the features in it, the sounds and settings in that instrument. Now, I'm gonna right click up here. I'm gonna undock this. Now that I have this, can I put it anywhere? No, I have to dock it, I think. Oh, that's how you do it. Okay, watch. I could grab this tab now, and I can move these controls to the bottom, right there. So now the controls are between the keyboard and here. So let me just make that shorter like that. And let me close it here because I have it open down here. Let's go back to the original. See, now we got the user interface and all the quick controls. And these quick controls are neat because you could assign them easily to your MIDI controller and the knobs you have on your MIDI controller or your dials or sliders or whatever. And let's see if there's an easy way to do that. So if I right click on one of the knobs and I hit Learn CC, you can't see it because I'm in the way. Let me get me out of the way. If I right click on one of these knobs and just click on Learn CC, now the next knob I touch on my MIDI controller will control that knob. So see, now I'm turning that. That's because as soon as I hit Learn CC, I went to this screen, or I moved this knob on my controller. This knob on my controller, and it now controls that quick control. Now I'll do the same thing for this one. Learn CC. I'm just going to turn the next knob over. Learn CC. Next knob. I'm going to go all the way through it with my 8 knobs here. I lost track. Hang on a second. That's 4. 6. And these quick controls usually put some, very useful things you can adjust into them, so you can mess with them pretty easy. Watch, I'm going to go into hypnotic dance here now over on the right, and I'm just going to pick something. It's this all pass pad. And I'm going to adjust my first knob now on my MIDI controller, which controls that first quick control, and that's my cutoff. Second one. How about this fourth one? How about if I want to adjust the amount of reverb or delay? All right, let's pick a different thing. All right, so here's the first knob. Yeah, that's an interesting one. How about this Buster? What's Buster? Isn't that an awesome sounding synth? And that's an old one. That's not even that new. It's such a beast. I love it. So that's how you use the quick control. So the quick controls is an easy way to do some edits to your sounds. And no matter which instrument you install, like I'll get out of Hypnotic Dance. I'll go to something else. I'll go to this maybe Amped Electra. And you'll see that the quick controls now change. So, oh, but they're not even assigned to anything. That's odd. That's the first one I ever actually saw that weren't assigned. How about FM Lab? How about this? There we go. So there's a bunch of them assigned. So even with just using the preset instruments inside Halion and then using your quick controls, you get a ton of control over your sound. That's like 8 variables you could control over your sound with knobs on your controller on any single one of those instruments in Halion. So that's like 5,000 instruments, and then you have 8 knobs of control over them. Now, let's open up Voltage is one of my favorite synths. Let's just try one of these. Now, we just messed with the quick controls. You have all your controls up in here too that you can adjust. This isn't just a pretty picture. Like if I adjust the filter in this one, you have control of all those too. And you can assign them to quick controls if you want. See? Assign the quick control. So, that's such a great sounding synth. Awesome. So, any one of the presets or the sounds in Halion that has its own user interface, you can adjust anything inside that user interface too. Like this is a special kind of synthesizer, this Skylab, which is called a grain synthesizer, because it takes little pieces of audio, like little grains of audio, and messes with them to make it sound interesting. And I can adjust all kinds of stuff in here. Filters and knobs and dials. And now, that's just one instrument. This Skylab here, that's just one instrument inside of Halion. That's another reason why I like Halion. Skylab just on its own has 254 presets. Each one of these has a bunch of, this Voltage has 151. Hypnotic Dance has 300. And that's how these all add up. This FM Lab is it's brand new actually, has 320. So there's tons of sounds inside Halion of all different flavors. Now, I've been doing this kind of music for a while now, and so I like to get a little more advanced, which is one of the reasons why I like Halion. If you click another one of these tabs up here, you see where it says Macro Page Designer? This is a blank slate where you can design your whole instrument yourself. I'm not going to get into it in this video, but this is going to be, I'm going to do a course on this probably eventually. This is the section where I'm designing my own synthesizer. So I just wanted you to know that exists and super neat when you're ready for it. All right, so let's open up some simple instrument. I want to show you another thing that Studio One that Halion has. Let's just go to a factory sound, like old school, just maybe an easy little piano type sound. What's nylon harp? It sounds simple enough. Huh. All right, I just want to find the simplest sound I can, actually. How about this basic? Here we go. These are very basic sounds. Acoustic grand piano. Okay, can't get more basic than that. There we go. Just a very simple old school piano. So it's not even this is an old instrument, but it still sounds pretty darn good. All right, so I have a basic sound here, right? Inside of Halion is a full-blown mixer, which you can get to with this tab here called Mixer. And it's got lots of options. Oops. Let's put that back. I wanted to get me. With this mixer, you can add effects to your sound. Don't ignore all the words and this whole thing here. I just want you to see that there's a bunch of slots in your mixer here. And if you go to any one of these slots, you can add effects. There's tons of effects built into Halion. Like watch, if I'm on one of those slots, it says load effect. If I click this, I have reverbs. I have delays. I have equalizers, filters, distortion, like amp simulators. Here, I'm going to drag this down. Pitch shifters, different compressors, all kinds of fun stuff. So I'm just going to pick distortion. I'm going to go to amplifier and see. We'll now see under the mixer the controls for that effect. And you see it's got a little guitar amp and a guitar cabinet. I could change what kind of cabinet I have. I could change what kind of amp I have. It's set for crunch right now. Let's hear how crunch sounds on a piano. And I can adjust the amount of drive, presence, just like a normal guitar amp. Okay, so I got a guitar amp on there. Say I want to add some reverb. I'll just pick another effect under amplifier. Let's go to reverb and add reverb. How about delay? Let's change that reverb to delay. All right, I'm getting carried away. You get the idea, though, and then you have all your settings for that effect. So just know inside of Halion, you have this full-blown mixer with lots of channels and tons of effects that you can add to here. So that's fun. Let's go back to just a regular old piano. That's the mixer. Now, there's complexities to it, like, all right, what does child mean? And what does depend mean? And what does slots and augs mean? Don't worry about it. We're not going to go into that now. Just know that it has a cool mixer, and it's very flexible and could do all kinds of stuff. You could mix all kinds of things together, and it's got all kinds of cool effects. And that's all I wanted to show you about the mixer. Okay, so we have our browser over here, and we have our interface over here. And we could change the mixer, put the mixer over here. We can put our interface over here if we want the interface over here instead. It's all the windows are completely flexible. And all the windows are, when you hit this plus, these are all the things that you could put into a window. Your keyboard, okay? I'm going to put a keyboard. So there's a giant keyboard, which is pretty useless. If you click the arrow over here to the right, you could split a window into two. Like hit split, bam, now there's two windows. I put the keyboard up in one. What if I want to split it again? I hit the arrow on the right, split it again. Now I got three windows over here. So maybe I could put automation or what, I don't know, whatever else. Like a recorder. Put a recorder over here. Got a piano up here. I got my interface over here. All kinds of cool stuff you could do. Michael says, how do you get it into Studio One? Can Halion be used with side Studio One? 100%. Once you install it, it just loads up like a normal instrument. Like you know in my videos how I pick my tie and I drag presence over. Halion is going to appear over there now. You could just drag it over and you have this full functionality that I'm showing you inside Studio One. I'm not using it inside Studio One now, just because I'm not going to be recording anything inside Studio One. So I just did it on it. You could run it standalone too. A benefit of running it standalone, like say instead of buying like a $3,500 Roland Phantom that you wanted to take to a gig, to a show, like you're doing a live show, buy a $300 laptop, install Halion on it, and then get a MIDI controller like this. and bring that bring that to the gig and have a infinitely more powerful instrument than the Phantom. Okay, don't quote me on how much more infinite, blah, blah, blah. All I know is I've bought all those workstations. I've bought a Phantom. I've bought, I don't think I ever bought a Yamaha Montage or a Motif or anything. I've had a Korg Chrome. I've had them. All the only thing that is inside those workstations are very weak ass computers, like very underpowered computers. So I'm now sold on like having a laptop. It's just way more powerful than and hooked up to a laptop hooked up to a MIDI controller. In my mind, is just way more powerful than buying a workstation. Okay, not everything's integrated and there's more room for error because you're running Windows and stuff. So yeah, if you need something solid, I get it. You need something quick, that's all built in. You buy a keyboard, take it to your gig. But these things are just as powerful. I mean, a computer hooked up to a MIDI controller, way more options, way more power. That's why I'm not interested in buying any of those other goodies anymore, you know? Right now, if all I had was Halion and a MIDI controller, I would be fine for a long time. So I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but all right. So that's all fun stuff. And let's see what else before I get into some real fun stuff. Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna close Halion. I'm gonna open it again, and I want you to look at the startup screen now. The only thing we did was I just showed you how to use Halion as a single instrument. If you go down to the Create section, you can create all of these different types of synthesizers with Halion. Like, let's just go old school analog. If I click this, now Halion is set up in its very basic form to allow me to create the synthesizer of my dreams. And here's one section where it's showing me what kind of wave I'm using to start off my synthesizer. These are all sine waves, and I have 3 of them I can use. 3 different what's called an oscillator. All an oscillator is a sound creator. It makes sounds by oscillating, moving back and forth really fast so that it makes an audible noise. It creates a waveform that's audible. That's what an oscillator is. And so that's what synthesizers are made out of, oscillators. So just think of the oscillator as the sound source in the synthesizer. So I'm just going to turn these 2 off. I'm just going to use one and play it. It's a sine wave. If you never knew, that's what a sine wave sounds like. Very soft. If I change that wave to a saw wave, it sounds like this. And there's something about sound waves that I love. I think it's something on that hits me spiritually about a saw wave that I just love them. I just love the way they sound. I think it's one of the reasons I'm drawn to electronic music. Like I love that. There's something just crunchy and warm about them. So that's just a saw wave with nothing else attached to it. I can release that. I can make an interface for that right now, put one knob on it or no knobs and say this is Steve's synthesizer and sell it and it'll just create the sound. I might actually do that. I just have no controls. It's just a sawtooth wave synthesizer with nothing else you could do to it. And it will sound like that. That's one cool thing you could do with Halion, and you can make a pretty interface and bring your graphics in and put all these knobs and stuff in it. It's really fun. I'm not going to get into that on this; it's too advanced, but you could do it. But what I'm showing you here, this is the engine. So if I did build a nice graphic interface, This screen is what's powering it. This is the synthesizer section. So I told Halion I wanted to create an analog synth, so it said, all right, well, let me start you off, and it gave me this screen. And then you could start adding things to it, like if I click up here, this is the filter section. So, you know, if you don't know what a filter is, it's something that makes a sound kind of go like from this to this. Like this. Now it's nice and warm and soft. Okay, so you have a filter section. And I can assign one of these knobs to one of these quick knobs down here. Watch. If I right click and I go assign quick control to QC1, now it just put it down there. So now that quick control, which I have mapped to my MIDI controller. Oh no, it's not. I left Halion. I had to reassign it. Hit learn CC. Bam. Now I have this. Now check it out. While I'm turning my knob. Watch. And let's make this resonance knob number 2. So learn CC to, oh no, I have to assign it to a quick control too, just so I could see what's going on. I don't have to, but I want to see it. So there we go. So now, now I could put those two little knobs in my interface if I was designing my own interface, or I can just save this. I could save this the way it is and load this up anytime, and I have my own custom synthesizer that I created. Now let's go back to the oscillators, and let's turn another one on, make it a saw, and maybe detune it just a really tiny little bit. So we get this like... Cool. And then I want to put a little reverb on it. So let's go to our mixer. And I'm going to go to just this one called here. This program. So I'm going to put a reverb. Cool, right? And I can go into the reverb and I could assign one of those settings to the quick control, maybe quick control 8 on the end here. And I'm going to make that assigned to knob 8 on my MIDI controller, and now I can control the reverb. So you can design, excuse me. So you can design your own sounds. It's pretty neat, right? All right. Last thing I want to talk about is this little section over here. This is called the program tree. And here's where you have to learn a little bit of lingo that if you don't understand, Halion's going to seem confusing for you. The first thing I want to talk about is what's called a program. In Halion, a program is the whole, everything that we were just creating in there. If you added it all together and packaged it all up into a ball. In Halion, that's what's called a program. It's all the effects, it's all the oscillators, everything you just create, the filters, everything you created and all the settings is, if you save that, it saves as what's called a program. Other synthesizers might call that a preset. There's, different lingo in different virtual instruments. There's no rules. There's no laws that say you have to call it a preset. You have to call this a program. In Halion, that's referred to as a program. So if we're looking at our screen over here, this list of things over here that we were playing with in the very beginning, all these things, they're actually called programs. So if I clicked on one, it would load up a specific program. Well, I'm telling you that because if you look at your program tree here, this tells you what comprises a program. See, a program is the main thing at the top. It's what's the top level name. There's all these things under it that make up a program. In Halion, a program is at the very top, and then it's made up of what under it of these things called layers. Yeah, no problem, David. Thanks for coming out. It's called these things called layers. Each layer can have tons of oscillators and tons of effects all on its own. So that's what these things over here are called. These layers. So the top thing here is called a program, an analog synth, and then everything under that is a layer. And you can have, I think, as many layers as you want. And each layer can have a layer under that and a layer under that. So I just wanted to show you and explain some of the lingo. That in Halion, you can have a program with layers upon layers upon layers of sounds under it. And that's what it's called. Like when we were designing this sound here, we were editing one of the layers. If I did 7 different layers, that would make a really wild sound. So just know that your sound design possibilities are endless. And if you did want to get into sound designing, just think of your possibilities. You can have all these layers over here of just tons of fun stuff. So I won't get into programming too hard, but I wanted to introduce you guys to Halion and show you what a beast mode it is as far as instruments and all the cool stuff that it comes with. Let's see, here's another synthesizer called Trium. I'm just going to pick this multi-saw pluck. Like I'm just messing with one of the quick controls. That sounds badass, doesn't it? So just know you have tons and tons of sounds here. I think it's a beast. Like I said, I've been playing with this stuff for a while. So for me, this is just so fun. It's got everything I could actually ever want. And I just showed you guys how to build an analog synthesizer. If you remember that beginning screen, there were 7 other different synthesizer types that you could build. So this is just an introduction. Do you have any questions? If anybody's still in the chat there, do you have any questions? Let me see if there's anybody watching live. Like I said, it was a small audience to begin with, but... No, it's just me. Just little old Steve. So this will be available for replay, or I might make it into a course if you guys know me. This is what I do. And we'll just go from there. So if there is anybody out there that aren't showing up, thank you for coming. Hope you learned something. Go Halion, your face is off. See ya. Michael, did you just ask that now or did I miss it? I will answer it because I'm still here. You asked, how do you think it compares to Studio One sounds? Studio One doesn't come with 5,000 presets like this one does. Studio One has a lot. I mean, between Presence and Mai Tai and Impact, you got tons of stuff. Like I've said about Studio One, you technically don't need anything else. This just for me is fun because it's got all the bread and butters and they're of sounds and they're all right there. It's got old school, it's got new school. This has been around way before. I think Halion's been around way before Studio One even existed. So it just has that history, and I love. The more sounds for me I can use, the better. So it just has everything, and I really like the way some of the stuff sounds. If I had to compare like head to head, like the piano and this and that, there's probably not that much difference. How are the oscillators in Mai Tai compared to the oscillators here? They're probably pretty much the same. I think Mai Tai sounds great. I think a lot of stuff in Presence sounds great. This just has more history, and therefore the breadth of sounds is just right there for you. And I'm one for like instant gratification. I need to have that stuff like just queued up for me. So I hope that you're still there and you heard that. If not, somebody else might be able to get something out of it. All right, now I'm going to leave, unless you guys have any more questions.